Hi there, I am your host, Clivia Allen of hashtag Her Chosen Story. Well,
My name is Jacqueline Powell, and I started Powell to Empower. And I decided to leave the corporate world and share my story, which is basically overcoming some pretty serious hurdles, both personally and professionally, reinventing myself a number of times professionally. And I realized that I had gone through all of that alone. I had an incredibly supportive family, but they all lived in another country. So I had to navigate those troubled waters all alone. And I wanted to share my story and all the tools that I used to get me through everything with other women to let them know that you are not alone in what you're going through. Our journeys obviously won't be the same, but the tools that we could use, the emotional turmoil we all go through is very relatable. And that is how I came to finding your way to self-love, because that is the most important foundation I feel to overcome everything, both personally and professionally.
I love that. Thank you so much, Jacqueline, for sharing that. And I know when we first spoke, hearing your story, it reminded me of myself. Being born in a different country, migrating to the States, and then relocating with my children after being divorced. It was brand new. I didn't know anyone here. My family, actually, literally a few minutes ago, my daughter texted me, Mom, we should move back to New York. And I'm like, for what? I reinvented myself. And I'm so glad you used that word because a lot of people are afraid to do that.
Mm-hmm.
They're so afraid to reinvent themselves and just start over. And we're going to go right into the questions. Let's start off with your work is deeply rooted in storytelling. Why do you believe telling our personal stories can be such a powerful part of healing?
First and foremost, I think it encourages other women to, like I said, not feel alone in what they're going through. That, hey, she went through something similar or, something really tough. And I think the more we talk about it in not a, oh, woe is me type of frame, we take the power away from what happened to us. It seems to be, it was a chapter in the book so long ago. It was, a
Right.
tough chapter, but there's been amazing chapters since then. And I think if the more we share about that, certain topics no longer become taboo. Like, it's not, divorce isn't whispered behind closed doors anymore. It's okay. And it's not that I encourage anybody to go for a high score by any means. It's just something that if life really throws you upside down in relationship and you're feeling unsafe and you're feeling torn down and it's not what you wanted it to be, it's not frowned upon in society to explore life on your own again, and to know
Yes.
that other women have conquered that journey in a myriad of facets is, I think, empowering to other women that maybe don't have a support system with their family or have been isolated,
Right.
or that
Yeah.
they can look in the mirror eventually and be like, you know what, I got this, I can do this too. So I think
Yeah.
sharing my story with women out there is important to me, because I want them to know that they'll always have a cheerleader here with strong women and in this industry.
Yeah. And that is so true. Like you said, you mentioned the word divorce, right? And I remember just looking back, 2017 is when I was separated, 2018 divorce. Years later, no one knew because for me it was embarrassing. There were so many factors to it. The day I decided to go onto a podcast like this, and the host decided to talk about relationship. Now, again, I was very silent and I love speaking, I love people, but that part of my life was just, I kept it to myself. But
Mm-hmm.
Jacqueline, the day I decided to share that story, such a burden was lifted. People called me and said, thank you for sharing your story. Because now I realize that I'm not alone. Right. So that taboo, put it under the carpet, throw it in the garbage, shred it. It's
Absolutely.
okay. It's
Right. It's what
okay.
we do. And I mentioned this in my book. Like, sometimes we assign ourselves a scarlet letter. We're just like, oh, there's like a big A on us or a D type thing. Like, there's something on us that everybody knows that we're divorced. And it's we nobody else assigns that. Nobody else, everybody else is already thinking 87 problems down the road in their own life.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody's doing that to us. We do it to ourselves, and we're like, oh, who wants to enter the dating field at 40? It's a different pool, but man, we can swim still just as strong. So it's
Exactly.
just
I love that.
Right? So I always encourage them. I was like, stop assigning yourself something that is negative in your eyes. Make it an S for survivor. How about you do that? And if you want to assign
Mhm.
yourself something, make it an S. I'm a survivor. I made through the divorce and stronger on the other side for it.
Yeah, I appreciate that for sure. And I really hope our listening audience appreciate what you're saying. In our own journey, in your own journey, sorry, was there a moment when you realized that what you survived, and you just mentioned the word survivor, what you survived was not just pain, right? And that's, I believe, I don't know if you said it when you introduced yourself, but 2 times around. Now, I'm pretty sure you're living your best life, right? So was there a moment when you realized that what you survived was not just pain, but a story that could help someone else? What shifted for you? What was that? Was it your mindset? Was it faith? Was it family? Even though there was distance, what did that look like for you?
So 100%. I took a job in 2018 that allowed me to move to Florida. And like you, when I moved, I didn't have children. I was going through my second divorce. And again, I'm now in Florida. My whole family is in Canada, incredibly supportive over FaceTime and phone and messaging, and not the same as being there physically. And
Yeah,
I moved to Central Florida here, and I knew nobody, not a single person. I knew the person who hired me for my job. That was it. And I moved into an apartment complex, and the running joke with a handful of the other people in there were all the people in their 40s were divorcees transitioning through different stages of it in the apartment complex. And all the 20 somethings were like newly married. Oh my gosh. So
right.
there was a clear divide between us. And I remember sitting in my apartment one night going, was this what I had signed up for? I'm now divorced twice. I'm in an apartment by myself. What are some of the tools now that I'm going to have to lean on? Because when I have an amazingly successful day at my job, I don't have anyone to come home and share that with. Like, I
Right.
tell my dog everything, I tell my horse everything, but it's not really the same. They're amazing listeners.
Yes.
Give different
His
and
stories, different type of response.
right, right. And they're like, throw the ball one more time. And so I remember sitting there going, okay, I need to find my power in being single, and I need to learn my difference between being alone and being lonely. And
Exactly. Big
it
difference.
was
Yeah.
right there's and when I got to that realization, it was like you said, it was another weight lifted. And I started realizing that my second marriage was to somebody that was very emotionally and psychologically abusive. That the way that
Mhm.
that marriage had ended up for the last number of years wasn't safe. It wasn't right. And it
Right.
took being alone and seeing how other people treat each other and converse and stuff like that. Like, that was an eye opener because that influence and hold on me wasn't there. That sludge had kind of
Right.
faded away and fallen away. So
Yeah.
being able to tear everything away from me and basically be vulnerable with myself. So that this is a pretty big realization moment in that. And
Mhm.
that's where I was like, okay, let's find some new tools that work. That's where I came across Ho'oponopono and different conversations with myself in the mirror and doing stuff that empowered me to do things for myself as a single person.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very powerful. And again, a lot of people, they're afraid. And for me, it's like, do it afraid. Figure it out. Talk to Jacqueline and she'll give you the blueprint. And I did put up where they can find your book. So I'm going to be putting up a few things for our listening audience to definitely connect with you, because some people, they just need, whether it's a push, maybe it's a read, maybe it's an episode of hashtag her chosen story. And again, this is why I have this platform, because again, a lot of women and men feel
Mm-hmm.
like they're in this bubble alone. And it's like you said, you're using all the words I use. Woe is me, right? Like, poor me. There's no one out there for me. I don't know how to start over. I'm gonna die this way. I tell my children, I said, I am not. I tell you, I'm still single. dating someone, but I said, I am not going to die alone with cats because I don't even like cats. So that is not going to happen, you know? And we just have to do it and find community. For me, it's also finding community. My prayer when I move, I said, I need community. And I mean, again, we met at that event through a mutual friend. But imagine that I've hosted so many different events and I'm only here 6 years. And there's people that's been here and they're like, how do you know so much people? You know, you got to do it scared. You just got to put yourself out there and everything's going to align. Everything is going to align.
And be patient. It's not a race. It's allow yourself to experience every day. Don't demand a relationship. Well, I'm not going to be single by Christmas. No, you will be single as long as it takes, because, you know, I always tell people, I'm like, love meets you where you love yourself. Right. So if you have really slow love for yourself, that's where it's going to meet you. And that's not going to be healthy and growth from your previous relationship. You need to love yourself wholeheartedly and through it all, because that next relationship will meet you there. And that's where you want it.
I love that. And just a reminder, this is not a Lifetime movie, because like you said, like you're not, oh, I'm going to meet him by Christmas, engage by Eid. Like, no, patience is a virtue. Many women minimize it. Say it again.
I said, you won't be sipping hot cocoa, being lost in the Christmas trees, waiting for him to come around the
corner. I know. All right. So many women minimize their experiences by saying it wasn't that bad. Why do you think we downplay our own survival stories? And how does that delay healing? Because like you said, love would find you where you are. And I'm part of I co-host on a podcast, and it's called AM Affirmation Space, where we speak nicely to ourselves, right? And it's 3 different women, 3 different age groups. I am the youngest, but I've learned so much from them, where we talk about mirror work. Look into the mirror, deep down in your soul, and really speak that love language to yourself. One of the hosts, she calls it luxury words. Speak those luxury words. Treat yourself, romanticize with yourself, light the candle, sip the wine, take a walk, take yourself to dinner. And when that time is right, that person will find you. You don't have to go looking, and it will be exactly what you need when you need it, right on time. So why do women, in regards to their experience, downplay what they've been through? Do you think it's fair? Do you think it's a lack of trust? And it could be trauma also. What do you think about that?
I think it's part of the healing phase that they don't want to acknowledge. They don't know how to acknowledge. And I think the more we downplay it, the more we say, oh, well, it wasn't really that bad, because a lot of us don't want oh, that happened. Or, you know, we don't want the I'm so sorry you're divorced. I'm not. I'm sorry that I went through something so traumatic. However, I love that I'm an undefeated champion of all the really tough times, right? So I think we downplay it earlier on in the healing portion or the healing phases, because we just like, oh, well, it wasn't that bad. I don't want people, I'm embarrassed, or I don't like being vulnerable about it. So you say that to make it easier to sweep under the rug and move on to something else in the conversation with somebody. Whereas if you flip the perspective of it, you're like, yeah, it was a really tough time, but man, I am the phoenix on the other side of it. Like, I think if you can kind of, I hate to say it, but you can expedite a little bit of that healing process by owning it. Yeah, absolutely. I was in the wrong for what happened, or it happened to me. I own it, and change that perspective and be like, yeah, it was really tough, but I made it through, instead of saying, oh, well, it wasn't that bad. Move along.
Right. And one of the things I think about is even us being accountable for the experience, acknowledging, like you said, and again, being part of that, co-hosting on that podcast, I've learned to take the cape off, right? That strong woman, especially me being a Black woman, like, I don't need to be strong. Like, I want to cry and feel the feelings. Actually, my last book, and a friend of mine said, you should have went deeper in your book. But for me, I'm still healing, right? Because there's so many layers of healing. There's so many layers. And it's okay to feel those feelings. It's okay to feel sad, but don't be down on yourself, but take the cape off and just be real, right? You know, and but move on from it. Don't stay there. Don't get stuck there. Move
Right.
on. Move
And
on.
I tell women, like you touched on it there, like there's so many layers. And I explain to people that you don't realize how many layers you went down. You can't take an elevator and skip them all and go right back to the top again. That unfortunately that
Exactly.
doesn't happen. It's not a choose your own adventure. You can't skip all the really tough chapters and go ahead. Like, so you don't realize over time the years of, you know, whether it's emotional or physical abuse or whatever it was,
Mm-hmm.
there was layers that you got torn down and you were, you know, you were up here and now you're down here. It's going to take layers and time to get back up or level up even beyond.
Yeah,
So I always tell people, like, don't rush it. You have to embrace the journey.
exactly.
It's
One
part of
day at a
your,
time.
and
Yeah,
be human about it. Sit with your emotions. It's okay to cry.
exactly. Exactly. That's my sentiments, honestly. So we're
Yep.
gonna dig a little deep into your book.
Yep.
Now, even with that, we know that it's so funny. My friend's dad, she stopped by my job today and she was on the phone with her dad, and her dad like loves me. And he said, guess what, Clivia? I listened to one of your episodes. And I'm like, oh, really? He said, I don't know if I was supposed to, but I really like your show.
Oh,
And even with that, you find that again, we're doing this because we've been through something. And through your experience, now you're an author, you wrote a book, finding your way to self-love. But so many people may see this, they may scroll, they may not want to hear, but the person that needs to hear it will hear it, right?
mm-hmm.
And they may not even understand their worth. They may hear you say in regards to, you went so low, but now you have to get back to the top floor. But maybe they're stuck at 2, they're stuck at 3. Knowing your worth is so important. And again, speaking those kind words to yourself. Your book, Finding Your Way to Self-Love, speaks to reconnecting your worth. Now, if this person never knew their worth, right? How
Yep.
does sharing our story help rebuild self-worth after seasons of struggle? And we talked about trauma, especially maybe even childhood trauma. It takes us into these relationships that kind of goes left. How do we, and we talked about healing, but how do
Mm-hmm.
we reconnect with that self-worth?
It's I always tell people it's not easy. So number one, it's work and it's
Mm-hmm.
a lot of work and a long road.
Yeah.
So I for women that I've worked with that, you know, maybe have come from a difficult background, or like you said, they never really saw their self-worth before. They didn't have a supportive family or loved ones that helped them through tough times.
Yeah.
And so they're starting from a different ground floor. And I always try to encourage people, like, I'll meet you where you are, not where you
Yes.
should be or where you think you want
Yes.
to be. It's where you are.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no wrong place to meet somebody. So number
Yeah.
one, where you are is 100% good. It's 100% okay. And
Yeah.
then I think, and I always encourage them to, you know, follow people or follow things on social media that lift you up. There's a
Mm-hmm.
gentleman on YouTube. I follow him, and it's called Wake Me Up. And he has, you know, like 8 minutes of positive self affirmations. Put some headphones
Okay.
on, get ready to work for work in the morning, and listen to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or, you know, daily manifestations or daily
Mm-hmm.
inspirational quotes. Or I have a
Yeah.
motivation app that pops up every couple hours, just a little motivational
Same.
message on my phone. Right.
Yeah.
So
Same.
there's little things that you can constantly do. And so I always encourage them for that, because we're always on our phone for something. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I joke, I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, the Apple Watch is a different form of ball and chain. You're attached to social media, you're attached to whoever wants to
Yeah.
get hold of you. And on top of that, you know, maybe choose your own positive affirmations that you want. I am
Write
enough.
them down.
I've got
Yeah.
this. Put them on sticky notes, you know, on your mirror as you brush your teeth, or, you know, in your purse. Put it on your wallet or something inside that. Every time you open your purse, it's there. You're like, that's right. I am enough, or I am strong. I've got this. Whatever works for you. And
Yeah.
be patient with yourself and give yourself grace. Those
Yes.
are incredibly powerful tools that I think a lot of people tend to overlook or tend to bypass, because
So vital.
we have to rush
Yeah.
through life. We're
Yeah.
impatient. I
Yeah.
mean, if something doesn't load on our phone in 3 seconds, man, we must need an update or something is going on. And
Right.
we can't do that with ourselves, you know? So I always
Yes.
encourage women. I was like, be patient, choose things that lift you up on a regular basis,
Mm-hmm.
and put the work in. It's going to take time, and it's not easy. It is
Of
not
course.
easy.
It's not. Yeah. And I mean, this question wasn't previously listed, but even with your book, do you have a favorite part of your book, or something that you think readers would enjoy more than the next, or just the whole book in its entirety?
I kind of like the book in its entirety, and I hate to be cliche about it, because each chapter is just different tools that
Yeah.
I have used. However, there's one story that outside of my animals being part of my journey and stuff like that, there's one chapter that I talk about meeting a gentleman at a bar that I used to cover this restaurant for sales, and I would sit there
Mm-hmm.
on my Friday nights and kind of just gather all my information with them. And the gentleman that owned the place, his entire staff was very nice, and I'm sitting there working on my laptop, and and I'm sitting there, and this gentleman sits down next to me, and he just strikes up a conversation, and he starts talking about the universe and messages from the universe, and kind of took a spirituality type turn. And I was in
Yeah.
this restaurant every Friday
Mm-hmm.
for about a year, every
Yeah.
Friday, because he was my last stop on a Friday, and I stayed there.
Mm-hmm.
I saw this gentleman once, and I never saw him again.
Wow.
And I signed up for these messages from the universe to hit my inbox and my email every single day, like every business day. So Monday through Friday at 3
Mm-hmm.
a.m. I get this message, and I love starting my day. And this is going back 9 years now, and it's still
Yeah.
an email that I look forward to, because just a little upbeat message that in my
Mm-hmm.
email, and I don't people are like, well, he was an angel, or he was a messenger, or this or that, and nobody knew him. This is a small
Wow.
restaurant. Everybody knows
Yeah.
everybody. Nobody knew him, and I was in a really
Yeah.
tough place, right? Like, so I was working
Right,
for a job.
right, right at the right time. He was there at the right time. You were there at the right time. Like you said, every Friday, but this one day when you needed it. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
yeah.
I
So
love that.
that one sticks out.
I love that. For women who are still in survival mode, we know they're out there, telling their
Mhm.
story can feel scary or even unsafe, especially I serve at a local shelter, and I've heard some stories, and the fact that these women were able to be vulnerable, they felt safe, right? But not everyone has that, especially in an environment where they don't even want to be.
Mhm.
Um, what are gentle first steps toward healing? And I know you shared some. What are some gentle first steps toward healing through storytelling without feeling overwhelmed? And you mentioned animals, and I know animals are a great way, right?
Mhm.
You mentioned having conversations initially, and you wanted human feedback, but what does that look like for you without being overwhelmed?
There's a couple different angles that I advise people on that, and to go with the animal theme. So for me, it was always my dogs and my horse, and they're incredible. Like a lot of veterans go through equine therapy, or there's
Mm.
canine therapy, stuff like that. And so, I mean, when I went through my first divorce, and it took a long time for the divorce to happen, there was a whole bunch of things to it in my book, but he cheated on me. And when I went through like that, just, I mean, if somebody could die of a broken heart, like I was feeling that.
Yeah.
Inners
Yeah.
just feel like they're, in a vice, controlled by
Hmm.
a toddler type thing. And so I would get on my horse, and he would spook at a falling leaf in our competition days. But
Really.
those days I would get on him, and I would tell him everything and just
Yeah.
cry. And he never
Yeah.
put wrong. Not once. He carried a burden he never signed up for. And he
Right.
moved that for me. And the same thing with my dogs. My dogs
Hmm.
are my four-legged children. And if I was home alone in the apartment, I would tell my dog Savannah everything. Again, it was just, and she just
That
sometimes
release.
the weight of her head in my lap as I told her everything. That made me feel
Yeah.
better. And the next time I would say those things, they didn't have as much power. And I get that not everybody has access to animals. Some people are highly allergic. So
Hmm.
my next thing about it is and I think a lot of people feel better is they journal. And some
Yes.
people are hesitant to journal. They're like, well, I don't know what to write. Then write that. It's okay to
Mhm.
not know.
Right,
And
exactly. Just
it,
let the thoughts flow. Yeah,
right. Or I said, and journal police aren't going to show up. So who cares about grammar? Who cares about spelling? Who cares if it looks like chicken scratches and it's all
exactly. The
chaotic and
scribbles.
none of it makes
Exactly.
sense? But if you keep doing it, even a handful of times a week, even 2 times a week, if you look back a number of weeks or a couple months later, you'll see your own journey and
Yeah,
you can see your progression. And I think that would
yeah,
be something to be proud of.
yeah. That's really good. And oh, I can really, really relate to that. So I know again when we first met, we both agreed when people said, I'm sorry for us being divorced. For us, it wasn't, we don't need an apology. We needed a celebration. Like throw me a party.
High five.
And in 2020, no, 2019, I found myself in a well, years later, a situationship, right? And that one broke my heart. That one, if you told me you were sorry to hear that, I would have probably shed a tear, right?
Mhm.
And I've been journaling since I was a little girl. I mean, I literally still have Care Bear journals, all these different journals with the keys. And the other day I was reading through one of them and I'm like, wow, girl, you've been through a lot. But I'm so glad that I wrote those feelings out. Like you said, there was scribble, there was laughter, there was so much in them. And I'm like, I'm so glad that I took the time literally every day. And you can see the
That's
day continue. I filled up one book to another book, and I have a stack of these books, And in 2024, I remember writing the words, I ask, I seek, I knock, I'm ready. And I didn't know what I was ready for. I didn't know what I was knocking, what I was about to receive. And then it was actually 2023. And then in 2024, I was able to leave one job, went right into another job because it's not my dream job, but it's a job where I can be flexible. It's a job where I can lead a team. And even being there, I was able to let go and release all that pain for those few years after my divorce, being in something. And it was so good. It was so therapeutic. So I love that you shared. If you don't have the animals,
Mhm.
writing, you can go to the dollar store and get a little journal and a pen and just release whatever comes to mind. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Jacqueline said I should write, but I feel dot, 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 you know?
Yep.
That's
There's
beautiful.
no wrong journal writing style or anything. As I said,
Exactly.
toss grammar out, toss spelling out. No one's going to read it except for you if you want to reread it. It's just
Exactly.
let it flow from brain right to hand and pen or
Yeah.
pencil. Just
Yeah.
flow it out. And
Yeah, and
and
that's really the power in storytelling, because even though you may not verbally say it, it's written down, right? And that's
mm,
releasing the stress, all the things that you're holding these tensions inside, release them. Because
yeah,
sometimes we wonder, why am I sick? Why do I have this dis-ease? We call it disease, but this dis-ease in my body. No, it's because you're holding everything in.
you're
Let
not at
it go.
yes.
Yes, exactly. So let's talk about Powell to Empower. And I do have the website up. I hope you guys are going to visit. And if there's a subscription, please subscribe. Through Powell to Empower and your Rise and Thrive experience, you help women build confidence and self trust. How does owning your narrative change the way a woman sees her future, not just her past?
I think owning your narrative means owning who you are, owning everything that brought you to the amazing woman that you are today. And it's being able to look in the little rear view mirror and be like, man, I have come a long
Yes.
ways. And to not look in the rear view mirror and be like, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have.
No regrets.
It's
Yeah.
you cannot change it. So you own it.
Yeah.
And I think that's owning your narrative is like, you know what, man, I did some absolutely ridiculous things. I don't know what I was thinking back there in that
Yeah.
rear view mirror. However, maybe I did the best with what I knew back then.
Right.
Maybe I know I made some terrible choices and shouldn't have gone there or done that or accepted that job or whatever.
Yeah.
Uh, we all have those moments, but for those of us that really want to embrace leveling up and going on with our future and our
Hmm.
next level of selves or our next chapter, it's hey, We did what we did and we cannot change it.
Yeah.
However, I'm going to embrace who I am today. And I love the fact when people are like, I want to encourage, continued learning. I want to encourage women to,
Yeah.
learn more about yourselves. And that was the whole point of
Yes.
Rise and Thrive. It was
Yeah.
there are, there's my videos are in there with words of encouragement. It's not just read this document, answer these questions, do these
Mhm.
exercises. It's I'm on the journey with you through these
Yeah.
modules, through these exercises.
Yeah.
I am there with you. I created it from my heart and what I believed would help women through a journey. And because again, I'm trying to meet a vast majority where they are and say,
Mhm.
there's no timeline,
Yeah.
right? Everything that's in your rearview mirror got you here. I want you to keep
Yeah.
learning. I want you to keep
Yeah.
growing. I want you to have that desire. Keep that fire burning. If not, toss some
Yes.
little cool gasoline on. Let's blow it up,
I love that. That's so good. That is so good. As you work on your second book, because I remember doing our little snippet interview, there is something cooking and maybe multiple books to follow, finding yourself to self-love. As you work on this second book, focused on mindset, healing, and personal growth, what do you hope women will understand going forward about their survival stories that they may not see yet?
Definitely with the second one, I'm still obviously in the infancy stage with it. And however, a number of readers from my current book are asking about a second one. So I feel a little bit of pressure. And but I think the key thing is the journey continues to evolve. And I think that's
Yes.
a key message that I want to put in the next one is keep the fire going, keep the desire going, keep the
Yeah.
desire to know that, man, I keep leveling up, I keep getting stronger, I keep,
Yes.
nothing can bother me. I,
Yeah.
it's, the emotional intelligence. I always, it seems like that those two words are tossed around a lot. But
Yeah.
I believe it's beyond that. It's the spirituality intelligence for yourself as well. That
Yeah.
I am strong. And that backpack that had all those rocks of issues and problems,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
down to a stylish little clutch, right? So that's it's being able to handle all of that. And I think that's really what I want the next book to be, is to encourage women to keep desiring more for yourself.
I
Don't
love
settle.
that. Yeah.
Um,
Don't settle.
yeah, and
So
on
good.
all avenues, whether it's your career, you want more,
Relationship
get
and
more. Yeah,
yes. Yeah. That's so good. Thank you for that. Thank you. I'm taking notes and I'm gonna, although I'm hosting this episode, I'm going to rewatch this episode so I can take action notes and get a copy of your book. So where I know I did have it up, but where can our viewers find your book?
on Amazon, and if you just search in "Finding Your Way to Self Love," it's available in paperback, Kindle, and Kindle Unlimited. Or
Beautiful.
also, if you go onto my website, powell2empower.com, there's a link there that will take you to Amazon as well.
Beautiful. Thank you for that. And I did have some quotes. Just wanted to read them out. Your mindset shapes how you experience challenges, and you can learn to shift it. And I'm going to say some, and if you want to stop me just to enhance what this means, please feel free to go ahead. Self-love is not selfish. It is not. It's not selfish. It's foundational. I
100%.
love that. You are allowed to outgrow environments, beliefs, and versions of yourself. And this one, I really love this one because a lot of people, again, they're afraid of change. Change is
Mm-hmm.
inevitable. I remember seeing just the little things, right? Whether it was going to the beach, seeing the waves, seeing the clouds. But there was a day I was walking and just a sidewalk, but there was this one little flower, this yellow flower, just there, right? And I saw that and I was like, wow, even in the midst of a strange place, because it was just random. I thought it was random. But I
Yeah.
said, look at that. That something beautiful can blossom in a foreign place. And I saw that in me. Like I've grown so much. My sister's like, why are you there? Why are you for? Come back home. And I'm like, you don't understand. I have an assignment and I would not have met so many beautiful people and be where I am now if I had stayed in my marriage, Two, if I had stayed where I was comfortable. I was very content where I was. But this right here, you are allowed to outgrow environments, beliefs, and versions of yourselves. And that is beautiful.
I have that. There's a snippet of that in my one of my
book?
modules in Rise and Thrive, and I touch on it in a new course that I just launched. And the point is, and I've seen a number of well-known names discuss this, is you're allowed to outgrow environments, beliefs, and versions of yourself. But I always tell people, I'm like, you must be prepared that when you do start to outgrow versions of yourself, people are not going to like it, and people are not
or understand,
and they may not stay with you on this journey, and you need to be prepared for those bumps, because it's not easy, because people are used to you in the version that they want.
Exactly.
And when you outgrow that version, because you're leveling up in one way or another, they're not used to that. So now you're a new version of them, that give them time to come around, give them time to decide. It's their decision if they still want to be on this journey with you or not. They can leave. They can come back at a later date, but stay focused on your journey and your growth regardless.
Yeah, that's so good. So good. And we got this one: healing, resilience, and confidence are skills that can be practiced and strengthened.
Always.
When women reclaim their voice, everything changes. I'm going to share something. So, like I said, I was silent for a while, some years, right? I was living, I was existing, but my voice, there was something big missing. And I was on Clubhouse in an affirmation space. And I wrote a ebook of affirmation. Was from affirmations from I Am, affirmations from A to Z. And it was just available in ebook. I just did it just because I was kind of feeling out, okay, this is how you self-publish, just different things. And being in this space, I was encouraged to now revise it into a paperback, because I wanted other people to experience what I was experiencing. So healing was happening in the background. I didn't know what was happening. And I was in the just listening lounge, and the host was like, if you want to come up, you can. You don't have to say anything. So I'm like, is she talking to me? Because there was so many other people that I'm like, maybe she is. So I think I waited the following day, because it was Monday through Friday, and I went up on the stage, still didn't say anything. Jacqueline, you may not know this, but I sing, right? And you can hear my powerful voice. Like I can stand in a room and I can command a room and all these different things. And I was taking baby steps, because again, being silent for so long, someone stealing your power, so to speak, I knew there was more in me. I knew there was more in me. I didn't just speak. I sang my affirmations, and everyone, they on mics, and they said, wait a second, what? And that was like the game changer. The rest is history. So when we reclaim our voice,
chills, I love it.
Everything changes. Everything. It was, everything changes.
You become taller. Your shoulders are more square. I mean, you change the energy of the room just by walking in. So because you already know that inside of you, you reclaimed your voice, and nobody else needs to know that. It's something that you look in the mirror and you're like, that's right.
That's her. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's like, whew, man, we are good.
I love it. And I think that that was the top. Yeah, that was the icing on the cake. That was the last one. When women reclaim their voice, everything changes. I love that. Do you want to, and we're going to play a 2-second game, but before we do, is there anything you'd like to leave with our audience?
Only, please, if you have any questions, re-listen to this. And I hope that my words and Clivia's words, something resonates with you. And don't be afraid to reach out, because you are not alone in whatever you're going through. Even I've spoken with women that they were the ones that committed the adultery in their relationship. And so they continue to beat themselves up. And it doesn't matter whether you were on the receiving end or the giving end of the difficult time. You deserve forgiveness to yourself.
Yes.
You have learning to forgive yourself for everything, and be strong, move forward for you. And doesn't matter. You're still not alone, and you are still supported in this journey.
I love that. Thank you so much, Jacqueline. And please, you guys visit her website. I just took it off, but I'm gonna put it back up again to learn more about Jacqueline and everything that she's doing with Powell to empower, rise, and thrive. Please visit her. If you have questions, even after watching this episode, you can either leave it in the comments or here's her email, powell2empower@gmail.com. And again, her book, Finding Your Way to Self-Love, is available on her website or on Amazon. So at this time, before we wrap up, I call this game, and I don't know, maybe it's corny, it's whack, it's fun for me. So it's called What You Heard. What You Heard. So I'm going to say a word, and whatever comes to mind, you're going to fill the blank. And some people, their mind really goes blank when I say the word, and I'm like, this is part of you, so you should know. So I'm going to say a word. Let's see. Toast.
Toast or toast. Easily for me is I encourage women to celebrate themselves. So toast yourself for every little thing. It doesn't matter if you're like, you know what? I drank 2 whole cups of water before I consumed coffee today, or I let somebody in when they saw all the pylons for the last mile that lane was ending. It's toast yourself for all little things, for every day of the week that ends in Y. There is a little things you can celebrate all the time. So toast yourself for all of it, because all the little wins add up to a big win, and you deserve to have all of the wins.
That's beautiful. Now I'm going to give you a joke. In my head, I honestly thought I would have said toast and you would have said masters, Toastmasters.
Well, my brain did go there, and I was like, well, nobody wants to hear about Toastmasters, I'm guessing. I mean, if you do, I'm all for Toastmasters. I could go on a tangent on that because that's the other part of my love. But I was talking with somebody the other day, and I did a video on my YouTube channel about celebrating the little wins. So I was like, you know what, we're going to toast. And
there you go.
So, because my background is also in the wine industry, so I'm thinking I'm raising a glass of bubbles to me today.
Oh, sweet. That means we have to have a second. You got to return and have a second episode. That is awesome. Okay, I'm gonna do one more. Family. Something simple. Family.
Family is what you make it, and I believe family is not blood, and my 4-legged kids are my family. I will defend them to the nth degree in the ends of the world. And so family is your circle that you decide. And I've seen a lot of the last couple of years the same saying, it's your family, your circle, your company, because we are all our own company, our own ship, we're the captain of our vessel. So hire and fire as you see fit. And you can always bring people back in. You can always ask people to leave the family circle. So protect your family and your heart with everything that you have, but move through the journey, I guess, with purpose.
Yes, I love that. Thank you so much, Jacqueline. And I'm going to highlight your website. Please visit powell2empower.com to learn more about this lovely queen. Jacqueline, it was a pleasure having you on our platform today, sharing your story, healing through storytelling, and all the things that you have survived. The best is yet to come. Celebrate those small wins. I am personally proud of you for not giving up, right? And knowing and realizing your worth. It's so big. So thank you so much. I think we'll see each other pretty soon. So until we see each other soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. That was a fun episode. And that was Jacqueline Powell. And I mean, we met through someone mutual, and community is so important. You cannot do life alone. Do not do life alone. Please don't. And again, if you were encouraged by this episode, please leave a comment, like, follow, connect with Jacqueline if you have questions. Maybe something was unclear or you want to learn more, visit her website. And to be a guest on our show, you can either email us or visit our website. We would love to have you, for you to share your untold stories that you think are ordinary. We think it's extraordinary. If one person can hear your story, that means you're a world changer. All right. And also, this is our website, cliviaallen.com/contact. Please connect with us. There's so much that we're doing as a community. I am honored to have this platform, but I also do other things, as you guys know. And if you don't know, please check us out at cliviaallen.com. heartfelt.com. And remember, you are chosen for such a time as this. Thank you and have a great day.